Paul Slava joins me here live in the studio. Karen is here from our team as well. And Paul, of course, helps run the show at the St. Augustine Beach Art Studio and Gallery, which is right there at the St. Augustine Beach Pier. You park in the pier parking lot, and you can stop by the gallery. It's open actually right now until 5 o'clock today. Right, Paul?
That's right. Every single day till 5.
beachartstudio.org. That's beachartstudio.org, the website we'd love for you to check out. Things are always changing there, right? You have people that, are putting up new exhibits, that sort of thing, coming and going.
That's what's the beauty about it, I think. It's always changing. It's never stagnant. For the repeat customers, you're always going to see something new. And we have, I wanted to talk about like all the classes and stuff coming in, but today I brought a guest, Michael Dixon, and he's going to talk to you about something and even more in depth in a event we'll have on a studio on Tuesday. It's March 22nd in the evening at 6 p.m. But something very topical, and it's about Ukraine.
Yeah.
We had found out that through his Peace Corps endeavors and other things that Michael, who's a photographer and a member of our studio, that he took some great photographs and then even better stories. And we sort of pulled together and had part of our opening last First Friday as an exhibit just sort of dedicated to that. And enough people were interested that we turned it into an event because we found out that he does do talks at libraries and colleges. And we thought, wow, how great that we should definitely have this, because he was very popular on First Friday. Everyone asking him questions about that. He was very gracious to stay there and answer anything that people had. We raised some good funds to something that's going to go, to a great cause. We know where it's going because it's through a designated sort of relief fundraising program for Ukraine. And I guess what I'd like to do right now is introduce him. This is Michael Dixon.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. It's my pleasure to be here and really share history, and that's what I like to do. I do that as a tour guide in town, and I've been a historic preservation architect all my career, and I love to share history. In fact, I came here from Cheyenne, Wyoming, where I was the on-site historic preservation architect for the Capitol building, a $317 million project there. Wow. But I was in the Peace Corps from 2011 to 2014. In fact, I left after 3 years because we were evacuated because of the invasion by Russia.
Yeah, the previous invasion, right, of Crimea and that part of the world.
Continuous.
Yeah, ongoing, right.
Yeah, ongoing.
So what part of Ukraine were you in?
Well, I actually started out in northern Ukraine in a city called Chernihiv, near the Belarus border, and it is being attacked now, unfortunately. And then after 3 months of training in Russian language classes, I was relocated to Vinnytsia, in 120 miles south, a little bit west of Kyiv, the capital city. And Vinnytsia, being in the center of the country, has not actually been attacked as the outlying cities have been now. But my friends there say they've got their bags packed and ready to go, but that's what we did back in 2014.
Right.
We were on a stay-at-home order from the Peace Corps for about a week before we had our bags packed and went out through Moldova.
Let's back up a little bit. Mike Dixon is here with us, and he is also connected with the St. Augustine Beach Art Studio and Gallery. So what would you do there as a historic preservation architect? Why were you there?
Well, I was working with a regional development organization called the Podolian Agency for Regional Development.
Uh-huh.
And it was a great opportunity to explore a lot of small villages in that region. And I had several projects, including there were 2 outdoor theaters that I designed and actually got built. To my surprise, that the first one I saw being built, where I had concept drawings and not full working drawings, construction drawings, and so I was a little taken back, but I was really pleased at the outcome. And that was in a little village called Severenica, which I did a lot of other things for too. I developed an outdoor museum of buildings to actually promote culture. So I was there as a historic preservation architect and doing projects. I worked on the Luhansk Castle in Lutsk, and did some repair drawings that they could use. And actually, after I left Ukraine, I went to Armenia and did the same kind of thing. In 2015, 2016, I was in Kosovo with the Peace Corps as well.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, just hopping in the car, we're taking a little break from the music, and we're spending time with Michael Dixon. He is a historic preservation architect, and he's a guest of Paul Slava, who is with the St. Augustine Beach Art Studio and Gallery. Paul, sort of remind our listeners what they can see at the gallery that would relate back to what Mike is talking about.
Currently, we do have an exhibit of some of his photographs he took at that time, and set up in its own separate little exhibit. And we have a little donation jar set up as well. And if you do give those, there's some prints that you could actually get from those images. And there's different sizes that he'll give, depending on your donation too. So it's like you get a little bit of something for that, but it all goes to this relief. But the images are just beautiful. The way he just captures, the moment and the time, and some of them have little artifacts in them too. They're built in little shadow boxes. But the prints are available from that, and they're just beautiful images. And we thought, wow, how topical, how, again, people are touched by that, wondering what to do. And and as an art studio, it's definitely, an expression. A lot of the artists, especially the Ukrainian Americans, are sort of pouring out their expression of what's happening through their art.
Yeah.
And, maybe it's a little healing, maybe it's a little catharsis, but it's certainly an expression of what's going on. And that includes the photographs.
Yeah.
But what a story behind this. I mean, I'm learning more and more from this man every day. He's also been involved in Fort Mose, right? Talk about local stuff. Mm-hmm. So he's not only doing everything around the world in countries, but definitely in our hometown too, he's touched.
Well, I'm working at Lincolnville Museum and Cultural Center as well. We're finishing up the first phase of a renovation project there. But I wanted to mention just a little bit about this. If donations are given, I will print various sizes, depending on the donation amount, of these pictures of Ukrainians. I have 3 printers and 2 scanners in my office, and I'm happy to do that. The money actually will go to the Alliance for Ukraine, and you can see it online, www.allianceforukraine.org. I happen to be on the board of directors of the Alliance for Ukraine, and it's past Peace Corps volunteers in Ukraine primarily.
Wow.
But anybody can actually join the organization and keep up on where this money will go, and they have several options on the website too.
And what's that web address?
It's www.allianceforukraine.org.
Okay. All right, give it to us one more time.
www.allianceforukraine.org.
All right. That's Michael Dixon. He's here local. And, of course, Paul Slava is a big part of our community with the St. Augustine Beach Art Studio and Gallery. Learn more at beachartstudio.org or stop by today and see the exhibit that Paul was talking about. The gallery, of course, open right now, open until 5 o'clock every single day. We'll be back. We're live from St. Augustine. Karen is here with me. We've got some very special guests here with us. Actually, Paul is not really a guest. He's been on here too much. He's cleared guest status, so he could come and do this job, my job, pretty easily. Paul, of course, helps run the show at the St. Augustine Beach Art Studio and Gallery. Very involved in our community, has been for a number of years, and you can learn more about what they do there by going to beachartstudio.org. Key thing to remember, though, the studio is located right there next to the St. Augustine Beach Pier. It's super convenient. You got plenty of parking. It's fun, right? You kind of build a day around it.
Yes, all kind of great things in the area.
Yeah.
You got the beach right there. I mean, that's
restaurants.
Great. But then afterwards, beautiful restaurants. Really great. You could certainly make a day, even a whole evening out of it.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of you I know have people visiting in town for spring break, and we'll be getting into Easter and all that. And just really incorporate visiting the St. Augustine Beach Art Studio and Gallery. You're going to get to see some great work from local artists.
That's
right,
true.
Paul?
Yes, we have over 180 right now members, and they're all local and wonderfully talented too.
Yeah.
As long as you're a member, you're allowed to show and sell. But I always tell people, I go, we don't suffer from quality.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other places that said, are you sure you're just going to let anyone hang? And we do, because it's only fair. But wow, I mean, each show just amazes me.
Great stuff. Of course, items available for purchase. So you have the opportunity of buying something for your home, your condo, and you'll know that it was made right here in St. Augustine. And more importantly, you'll be supporting a local artist. And it speaks to what Paul was talking about. We have some amazing people that live in this community anyway. We seem to be a magnet for some interesting folks, and that's certainly the case with Michael Dixon, who you brought along today. Would you like to reintroduce him to our listeners?
Absolutely, yes. This is one of our artist members. He's a photographer. He also, he helps us hang and install the show each time, which I'm sure to his testament is no small feat. We had over 100, I think, images we had to hang last time, not to mention all the 3D art and jewelry and prints, etc. But he also introduced us to a new hanging system. Maybe some of his architecture seeped into there, and we don't have to put holes in the wall anymore. We had one man that used to patch and paint, and he cried and nearly kissed him after this because we don't have to put another hole in the wall. So he's been an all-around very important member, and then, like I said, this came up. Besides being an architect and an engineer and an artist and photographer, I found out this about him. Why don't you remind people, Michael, about what this is all about?
I have to thank Paul a lot for how kind he is to me. But when I met Paul Slava, I said, Slava, that means glory in Ukrainian. And Slava Ukraini means glory to Ukraine. And I know my Facebook friends, they're all over the place on Facebook saying Slava Ukraini. And so I thought that was pretty cool that his last name means Slava.
That is really cool. Yeah, well. So talk to us, Michael, a little bit about what you're doing. Obviously, Ukraine is a place that's close to your heart because you spent a lot of time there on the ground, years, right?
Right. Well, actually, I spent 3 years there, and in 2014, when the Russians first invaded, that's when we evacuated, the Peace Corps evacuated. Went through Moldova on February 21st, 2014. Never forget that day. We had some difficulties getting around the Transnistria area, which is in Moldova, held by the Russians. And at the same day, the president went east to Russia. The Ukrainian president, Yanukovych, left because the revolution had started in 2013, mostly in Kyiv, but all over the country, including in my location in Vinnytsia in central Ukraine. Our office building that we had our office in, we had to vacate and go elsewhere because it was taken over. It was a government building and taken over by the revolutionaries at the time.
Right.
So the whole country was affected by that. But I saw a change in the people. When I first got there was some voting coming up, and I asked the young people in the office, the regional development office I was working in, who are you going to vote for? And they said, we don't vote. It doesn't matter. And I talked about in America, everybody votes because every vote counts. We all try to get everybody to vote. So at the end of the revolution, or when the revolution was going on, I saw a different attitude from this Soviet mentality that had been before, that we can't do anything about it. And it was the phrase I heard over and over again in Russia was "Tak ono i est." It is what it is, and we can't do anything about it. And even when the troops were across the Kerch Street, and I was in Kerch, Crimea, at the library working with students there, I said, "Aren't you worried about these troops?" And I got the "Tak ono i est" again. Mm-hmm. And then that started changing, though. I think now people see a difference now that they have a president who's not an oligarch, and he's not not the person who's doing it for his own benefit. I think Zelensky is a very good president. But in the meantime, Poroshenko was the president after I left, and he was from my town, and I almost always call it my hometown in Ukraine, Vinnytsia. And also the mayor, who I had written a book about the town of Vinnytsia, kind of a coffee table picture book.
Right.
And that the mayor became the prime minister, Vladimir Groisman. Mm-hmm. And I had meetings with the mayor and presented him with my book, and there's some 40 copies floating around the libraries. And
we just saw a copy of it. So one of the things you're involved with is trying to raise some money for Ukraine, right?
Yes.
So let's talk quickly about that before we get back to the summit.
Well, actually, there's quite a few choices on the website, again, for Alliance for Ukraine. But I've actually been contacted back in my home state of Illinois by a Kiwanis Club. I happen to be secretary of the Kiwanis Club here, the Kiwanis Club of Historic St. Augustine. Mm-hmm. But I've been a Kiwanian all my adult life. And I was contacted saying, we'd like to send some money to Ukraine. Who should we send it to? We want to support kids. And that's what Kiwanis is about. And so I said, well, look at that website for the Alliance for Ukraine, and there's some options there that you can send money to.
So allianceforukraine.com.
.org.
.org. I'm sorry, it's a nonprofit, so .org. All right.
And if you've been fascinated by what he's been saying, and to expound on that, I'm sure you will get that. we do have that. We do have an event at the Art Studio. It's going to be March the 22nd. That's a Tuesday in the evening, 6 p.m. It's only going to last about an hour. But like Michael said, it could last longer, depending on, he'll answer questions just like this. It's also a good time to come out and donate at that time. It'll be a centralized, sort of donation spot as well. And it's going to be like a PowerPoint. He'll have some artifacts. Of course, you can see his beautiful pictures, maybe even purchase a print, and all the proceeds will go to just what Michael was saying. But, definitely, as you can see, is a wealth of information. You're going to get more in depth. And I urge everyone to come out to this event, and it's only going to be this one time. So please, Tuesday, March the 22nd at 6 p.m., right at the Art Studio.
Okay.
And we're calling it Ukraine, It's People and Culture. And I gave this presentation just a week ago up at the University of North Florida in Jacksonville, and had very enthusiastic responses and questions and conversation. So that's why I think Paul said it might last longer. If people want to stay and talk, I'll be there as long as anybody wants to, because I think it's really important now for people to understand the people of you. It's all about the people and their hospitality. I mean, their hospitality is so great. You'll hear stories about how they may capture a Russian soldier and then they give him a good night's sleep and a nice dinner and give him a phone to call his mother to say, I'm okay.
We've seen those stories. Yeah. All right, very good. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Just very important part of our structure as far as like installing shows, hanging, but very talented. And we keep on finding more and more layers of this onion, Michael Dixon, and I think the most topical and thing that, he reminded us of is that he was in the Peace Corps in Ukraine, stationed in there, and right around the times that things were just starting up, that he had to actually evacuate in 2014, and they've been fighting this ever since, and this is part of the same thing going on still. And so he just wants to remind everyone, and through his art and through his experience and talks, and again, I was saying this is what the Art Studio is all about. It's not just a stagnant like gallery or studio. It's really much about education and bringing culture and education to our community in the form of, whatever. If it's even for classes and workshops, we have plenty coming up. You should really check out our schedule. But also things like these, important speakers. And they're going to bring you some things that you will not hear on the news or in the newspaper. These are firsthand account experiences, and that's why we have him here. And we thought that was very important to have a talk and an event coming up this Tuesday. It's
week from tomorrow.
A week from tomorrow, exactly. Yeah, March 22nd at 6 p.m. and it's right at the studio. But he'll tell you a little bit about that now. But here's Michael Dixon.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Paul. Yes, it is March 22nd at 6 p.m., and I love to share history. And I think this is history. We need to understand a little bit more about Ukrainians and why would we help them. I actually came back here just about 3 years ago to St. Augustine. My dad grew up here. My grandmother was 100% Minorcan, came back to my Minorcan roots. And I enjoyed sharing history. I was a historic preservation architect, had my office for 32 years in St. Charles, Illinois.
Right.
And I've enjoyed being a licensed tour guide here in St. Augustine as well, sharing history with mostly fourth graders who were learning history in that grade.
So your talk will be once again next Tuesday, right, the 22nd?
Right, and it'll be about the people and the culture of Ukraine.
So you make a presentation, and there'll be a Q&A after that.
Right.
And then there'll also be an opportunity to make a donation, right, to the organization we talked about before, which is?
The AllianceForUkraine.org.
All right, the AllianceForUkraine.org.
You can check it out online. It really is a very active organization of mostly returned Peace Corps volunteers. A couple of weeks ago, we had a Zoom talk with the director, Carol Spahn, of the Peace Corps, and also the staff that is still on duty in Kyiv, the Ukrainian staff there.
Okay, very good. It'll be, once again, I guess it's also mentioned on the website, too.
It is. That and our Facebook page, just the Art Studio on Facebook, is probably the most lively, updated, social media to reach for us, and it'll give you all kinds of updates. We'll have a flyer and an actual Facebook event that you could follow and click if you're interested.
Yeah. It's good information. Once again, follow the Facebook page, like it. That way you'll get all the information in your feed. We do that here at the radio station and keep up with all the stuff that's going on at the St. Augustine Beach Art Gallery. Once again, that's located at the pier, and you can always learn more, too, by checking out the website, beachartstudio.org. But Paul, at the end of the day, they need to just come by.
Absolutely. I mean, you're going to visit a beautiful, newly historic designated building, built in 1939. Just great to see the old coquina and everything. Check out the beach. You can't, I mean, literally we're right up there by the beach. We're behind the fire department, but all the way back by the beach. And it's a little hidden gem, and hopefully not so hidden anymore. I think people know where we are. We're celebrating our 11th year of being there, and it is a great time. You're always going to see a smiling person to greet you. They're actually a member and docent. We have all volunteer staff, and they're usually one of the artists. You could ask them, hey, where's your piece? And they'll point it out to you and tell you a little bit about that and about any other artist that's in there.
Great part of our community. The St. Augustine Beach Art Studio and Gallery. Michael Dixon, thank you for coming by. Thank you for your work.
Well, thank you very much.
We appreciate it. And, of course, Paul, always appreciate having you on the air.
We'll see you again.